and welcome to another episode of Kid Chronicles News. I'm Ava.
And I'm Savannah. Today we're going to talk about a warm, cuddly topic, quilts.
Quilting means to stitch together many layers of fabric or padding. As far back as 3,400 years before Christ, people were making quilts to insulate their windows and keep themselves warm. Sometimes quilts were made of large pieces of cloth, and sometimes they were sewn together from scraps of clothing. Some quilts were made to just be practical, and others were made into specific patterns or with careful embroidery to be fancy. So me.
Yeah, she's fancy, I tell you.
1300s quilting had reached Europe by the Crusaders who wanted to spread Christianity. They introduced something called gambeson, which was a quilted piece of fabric worn under suits of armor. By 1360, women in Europe were using quilting techniques to make blankets and curtains because they discovered that stitching many layers kept everything warmer. Speaking of that, I'm cold. Quilting came to America with the first European settlers. They used and reused whatever they could to make blankets, like outgrown or worn-out dresses, and even old quilts that were falling apart. They had to sew all of the quilts by hand and learned that it was more fun to do together. They formed quilting bees where women would bring their sewing baskets and talk with each other while they worked. It was a great way to get to know their neighbors and learn from each other and pass sewing skills on to the next generation. In the 1860s, America had a civil war. Since only men could fight in the war, women got together to make quilts to show support of abolishing slavery. They would embroider anti-slavery poems onto the quilts and try to show everyone how unfair it was for people who were slaves. That's so nice. Some of the quilts had patterns on them that made people think they were part of the Underground Railroad. Important. Escaping slaves shared news like houses or farms that had a log cabin quilt hanging on the line were a safe house, and the people inside would help them get to freedom. Now that machines can make fabric and help sew quilts, being a quilter is as popular now as it was hundreds of years ago. In fact, the Wall Street Journal estimates that now there are almost 10 million quilters in the United States alone.
Wow!
We learned a lot about quilts today. Our favorite quilter is our Grandma Deb, who made this beautiful quilt right here. We're using it as a tablecloth right now. Make sure you subscribe to our channel so you don't miss the next episode of Kid Chronicles News. And please, would you like and hit the notification bell? If you hit the notification bell, you would get notifications each week when we post new videos. And if you subscribe, you would not miss our new videos. And if you like, that kind of goes along with all the stuff. So bye! If you have already, good job, and you're a good person.